Uh, what is the discussion among ADs, presidents, whoever, about really how it's supposed to work? I know there is a deadline coming up Sunday where an athlete has to be inside the transfer portal to be able to transfer. After that, if someone transfers, then they get a waiver, and most likely, I don't know what the chances are that gets cleared. Is that deadline, I know it's early on and it's still something new, is that deadline, you think, going to work?
That's a great question. And I think that, I think it becomes artificial, in a sense, if we're going to continue to grant waivers at the rate at which we're granting waivers. Now, let me be really, really transparent. We've been a benefactor of those waivers. And
sure.
So, but what does the deadline really, really mean if we continue to grant those waivers? I think the other thing too is, a lot of conversation right now, and you all talked about it before about, transfer portal windows, and it not being open continuously like it is. And how does that impact, the rate at which people are transferring, right now, the first year of the transfer portal, it was about an average of 7 young men transferred out. That has grown to 12. And let me be a little bit more specific. That's an average of 12 per FBS football program. So nationally, when you think about the 120 plus, I don't know if it's 129. I can never remember the exact number. So do transfer portal windows, do they curb that? I don't know. I think that, the cross section of name, image, and likeness in the transfer portal has not been good for college athletics. I think most of us would agree with that. It's not what it was intended to be. It's, probably, less with football, but more with men's basketball out of control. When we think about, the dynamic of those two together and, thinking about, reading about, what happened at the University of Miami with a transfer in Nigel Pack. And, how do you even navigate that? How do you explain that? You have an individual on that team that's a great player that was there for them to get to the Elite Eight, and now they're not maybe getting what that all of a sudden new player transfer coming in is. And so there's just, there's a lot going on, and it's not sustainable in my opinion. And we're gonna have to figure this out over the next 12 months. And you're not going to be able to put the genie completely back in the bottle. The transfer portal is going to remain, and name, image, and likeness is going to remain. But we've got to find a better balance. And we all keep saying, well, the market will self-correct. And I think there's some truth to that. But I think the NCAA, we're going to have to be intentional about, self-correcting some of it as well.
Mack, that kind of leads into the comments from Jack Swarbrick from a few days ago, predicting a split of some sort within the next decade of college athletics, and even going so far as to say, there would be a base of schools that still are basically college athletics programs where education and the school itself is tied in. And then there would be this other group where it's basically like renting the license to the logo and the name, and they're just basically a pro team. I was just curious what your thoughts were on Swarbrick's comments and you just kind of that area of discussion.
Yeah, I think as is we're all sitting in the seats that we're sitting in, and we're watching things play out, and we've got the transformation committee in process, and we're trying to figure out whether or not federal legislation is going to happen, and that there'll be some protection there in terms of antitrust law, all of that. I think that's where your mind can go, is that there's going to be this separation. I don't think that will be good for college athletics. You think about, the sport of football, college football, and just the impact it has across this country. The Saturdays, the pageantry, the number of games, the way it galvanizes our communities, brings people together. It's not just a game. It's really a celebration, on Saturdays throughout this country. And if we get to a point and place in time where, and this is my personal opinion, obviously, but if we get to a point and place in time where there's only 15 to 20 to 25 of those football games that really matter anymore, I don't think that's good for the sport of football, and I personally don't think it's good for our country and how we think about the future and what it means and how it brings people together. And so, I certainly get, and I have great respect for Jack and his thought process and his opinion, and I'm hoping that's not where it heads.
I don't think there's any doubt, and I know probably need to ask you, but if everybody was raising their hands on, hey, we'd be interested in basically being a semi-pro team, or hey, we want to stick to college athletics, you are firmly in that college athletics camp, because, I think you just said it, that other stuff that maybe people neglect for the money thing, that all matters in the process of just, helping raise human beings, right?
Yeah, I'm again, this is not, saying that I've got it right, or,
sure.
I'm thinking about it, better than anybody else, but I'm in the business of impacting young people and developing young people. And I think if you ask Dave Aranda that question, he would answer it the same way. And I think Scott Drew would, and I think Nikki Collingwood and Steve Rodriguez and Glenn Moore and Michael Woodson and Joey Scrivano and Mike Ford. Just on down the line, Casey Mack. And I think that's what makes Baylor special. And I think that's why we have the culture that we have. And so that's what we're going to continue to do. And I do really believe this. I think there's going to be a relevant place in the future, college athletics, for us to continue to do what we do.
Mack, I know the Big 12 has come up